there a motion to terminate Keith Free?
Legal appointment. That's what the trustees I talked to are calling this. They say the news took them by surprise, and now they're talking to legal counsel to figure out their next step.
Tiffany Henyard's fall from grace has been nothing short of a spectacular collapse, and things have only gotten worse with her latest defeat in court. Once hailed as a powerhouse in Dolton and Thornton Township, Henyard now finds herself at the center of scandal after scandal, each one digging a deeper hole that's becoming almost impossible for her to climb out of. The craziest part, this downfall didn't happen overnight. It's the result of years of mismanagement, unchecked power, and a series of poor decisions that have finally caught up with her.
Unfortunately, we knew it was going to be a little messy, but it's just something we felt important that had to be done, that should be done. So, but like I said, you have just some kind of...
Let's break it all down, starting with the latest court case that's shaking up Henyard's already fragile political career. This one's a big one, a $3 million lawsuit involving Gerald Jones, a former employee of Thornton Township. Jones has accused Henyard and her associates of serious misconduct, including workplace intimidation, harassment, and retaliation. And here's where it gets even juicier. Jones wasn't just some disgruntled employee, he's actually the son of Township trustee Jerry Jones. That means this lawsuit carries not just legal consequences, but deep political ramifications. It's clear that Henyard has made enemies all around her, even among those who were once close to her.
And power was just very stressed and critical to the point of almost...
So what's this case about? Gerald Jones worked for Thornton Township for about a decade, but things took a turn when he reported a mice infestation at the Food Assistance Program to OSHA, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. After reporting this health hazard, Jones claims he was harassed by Keith Price, the Food Assistance Program manager, who had been handpicked by Henyard herself. Price's retaliation didn't stop at verbal abuse. He allegedly threatened Jones physically, even saying they should take it outside. That's the kind of behavior you might expect in a bar fight, not in a workplace where public servants are supposed to be helping vulnerable people. But that's the environment Price, and by extension Henyard, have allowed to fester in the township.
I don't believe that is legally correct. That's just not the way municipalities operate.
But it doesn't end there. The lawsuit delves even deeper into what's being described as a toxic work environment under Henyard's leadership. This isn't just about one isolated incident or a single disgruntled employee. The complaint suggests that anyone who dared to challenge the status quo, speak out about the conditions, or report unethical behavior was met with swift and brutal retaliation. And we're not talking about dirty looks in the hallway. Employees like Jones were denied overtime, screamed at in front of colleagues, and in some cases even threatened with violence. There's even a disturbing story about someone writing on a chalkboard in the food pantry, "When I leave here, everyone will be gone." That's not just unprofessional, that's terrifying.
Address some things as the supervisor. There will be no comments, there won't be anything, it'll just be me addressing you guys and telling you what's going on.
The fact that this lawsuit is now making its way through the courts is a massive blow to Henyard. But it's not just the legal consequences that are significant. What's truly striking is how this case exposes the level of dysfunction and chaos that seems to follow her wherever she goes. And it's all unfolding in full public view, with court documents, media reports, and public testimonies laying everything bare for everyone to see.
It is wrong, and there's a time to hold people responsible and accountable for that.
Now, here's where things get even more interesting. The court recently granted Thornton Township an extension to respond to the lawsuit, pushing back the deadline to October 31st. But don't be fooled, this isn't a victory for Henyard, it's just a delay. And in the world of politics, a delay is simply postponing the inevitable. There's no real defense being put up, no legal strategy in play. In fact, there wasn't even a lawyer present to represent the township in court. Let that sink in for a moment, a multi-million-dollar lawsuit. And the township can't even bother to show up with legal representation. If that doesn't scream incompetence, what does?
So that's one of the reasons I vote no when we go through our board packets. It's like, some of this stuff, it's like you don't know exactly what it's for, and then when you ask the question, there's no answer.
Henyard, of course, is trying to deflect blame. She's been on the defensive, making statements like, "I am Thornton Township. I'm the head. So with that being said, I will be represented." She's attempting to position herself as the victim of attacks on her leadership. But honestly, that narrative isn't resonating with anyone anymore. People are fed up. The public isn't buying her excuses, and even her once loyal allies are starting to distance themselves.
Now, we've been reporting on questionable spending by a South suburban politician named Tiffany Henyard. but we only knew half the story.
It's no surprise that the tide is turning against her. We've seen this pattern before. What makes Henyard's situation even more damning is how openly she seems to be losing control. Take, for instance, the incident where she was caught on camera arguing with her own attorney. This wasn't a minor disagreement, it was a full-blown public spat that made her look completely unhinged. As one viewer aptly commented, it spoke volumes about the state of her leadership, with the way she acts openly in public, knowing cameras are rolling, even arguing with her own attorney. I shudder to think how much worse she is in private. That's a pretty telling observation if she's willing to act so recklessly in plain view of the public. Who knows what's happening behind closed doors?
Everybody, is it the reason why you guys are not paying whatever that vendor is?
What was it for?
It was for shirts. That's what it's for.
Then there's the issue of Henyard's handpicked team, including figures like Keith Price. Henyard has surrounded herself with individuals who seem just as problematic as she is. Price, the food program manager, wasn't just running the operation, he was, by many accounts, terrorizing the staff under his supervision. Jones's lawsuit paints a vivid and disturbing picture of an abusive work environment where employees were not only harassed but outright threatened. With such a toxic leadership dynamic, it's no surprise that everything is beginning to unravel.
This is Super Mayor Tiffany Henyard, the people's mayor and people's supervisor.
But this isn't just about the $3 million lawsuit, it's part of a much larger problem that's been brewing for some time. Henyard's leadership has been marred by scandal after scandal, from accusations of excessive spending to ongoing battles with the Dalton Village Board, which itself has faced investigations for misusing taxpayer funds. One glaring example of her reckless spending was a party featuring high-paid performers, bounce houses, and all the bells and whistles. Former trustee Valeria Stubbs called it a waste of taxpayer money, and many residents seem to agree. Unfortunately, this is just one of many instances that highlight Henyard's apparent disregard for fiscal responsibility.
That the government always does it is to go and investigate people around her, and that's what they're doing.
Residents are growing angrier by the day, showing up in force at public meetings to demand Henyard's resignation. At one particularly heated meeting, a resident boldly declared, "I'm not going to stop until she's behind bars." The frustration is palpable. People feel lied to, misled, and betrayed by someone who was supposed to serve their interests. Yet, instead of addressing the issues or seeking solutions, Henyard seems more focused on protecting herself.
Very appreciative to receive the information today. We have the best mayor ever. I've been here since 1993.
Let's talk about how Henyard is or isn't handling the fallout from these scandals. Rather than taking responsibility, she's doubling down, refusing to step aside or acknowledge any wrongdoing. That's a terrible look for someone facing multiple legal battles and widespread public outcry. She's even resorted to holding her own meetings when the Dalton Village Board postpones theirs, attempting to push through her agenda without a quorum. It's as if she's operating in her own little bubble, completely disconnected from reality.
The administration can adhere to some financial limits. We're not looking to necessarily...
The truth is, Henyard's downfall is about more than just one lawsuit or one political party. It's a reflection of a pattern of behavior that reveals she's completely lost her grip on power. From her mishandling of township funds to allowing figures like Keith Price to operate unchecked, her leadership has descended into chaos. It's not just the mounting court cases, it's the growing public perception that she's no longer fit to lead. The people of Dalton and Thornton Township deserve better, and they know it. As one viewer put it, "I can't wait for her arrest." Dalton needs better. That sentiment is spreading, as more and more residents express their frustration with a leader who has dragged their community through the mud. Henyard may have believed she could continue ruling unchecked, but the tide is turning, and it's turning fast.
Is in a situation where she feels like she's under attack.
As we watch this all unfold, it's hard not to wonder what's next for Henyard. The legal system is catching up with her, and it's only a matter of time before more lawsuits and investigations come to light. The FBI is already scrutinizing her spending practices, and a federal investigation looms over her. It's safe to say that this $3 million lawsuit is just the tip of the iceberg. Henyard's political career is on life support, and it increasingly looks like this court loss will be the final nail in the coffin. But her refusal to step down isn't just about clinging to power, it's about self-preservation. Once she's out of office, she loses the shield of her position, leaving her even more vulnerable to legal repercussions. That's why she's fighting tooth and nail to maintain control, even as everything crumbles around her. The media has also played a significant role in this saga. Henyard has been the subject of countless news reports, and each new revelation worsens her reputation. From WGN to local outlets, coverage of her missteps has added fuel to the fire. The court of public opinion has already rendered its verdict, and Henyard is clearly on the losing side. As we approach what seems to be the end of Tiffany Henyard's political career, it's crucial to recognize that this isn't just about one person. It's about a system that allowed someone like Henyard to rise to power and remain there despite numerous red flags. It's about the enablers, the allies who turned a blind eye, and the culture of corruption that gave her free rein for so long. Now, as her house of cards collapses, we're witnessing just how deep the rot goes.
It's shameful. Y'all are a disgrace. We're watching the fall of this administration.
So what's next? Will Henyard finally step down, or will she continue to fight a losing battle? And what does this mean for Dotton and Thoron Township moving forward? As one viewer aptly put it, Dotton needs better. Now, it's up to the people to decide what that better looks like. This saga isn't over yet, and there are bound to be more twists and turns as we approach the final showdown. One thing is clear: Tiffany Henyard's reign is nearing its end, and when it does, it's sure to be a dramatic conclusion. What do you think? Is this the end of Henyard's political career, or will she somehow manage to claw her way back? Let us know in the comments. See you next time.